All right, you beautiful people. Welcome to the first, well, not the first because we did Thursday, but the first Sunday Days Media Sunday show. We're excited to be here. We got a full slate of NFL games ahead of us, and football season's finally back. First and foremost, we want to thank you all for tuning in. If you tuned in on Thursday, and if you didn't tune in on Thursday, you missed some great Lions coverage from the man to the left of me. I'm Jerry here, back in the flesh with his visor and glasses as always. To my left here, we got Pask, and to my right here, we have Fazoli. And now I'll leave it to these guys to give their intros and say their hellos.
Vecino, they already met me Thursday, so start them off.
What's going on? Man, I'm just a big Jaguar fan, living an uncomfortable world for a long time, but it just feels good to have a good team now. I'm sure you could understand that in the Lions end. I've actually never been looking more forward to a season than this one, especially with Jet season tickets. I'm going to be going to all those games. I'm going to be, watching live. Nothing better than going to a game, and you could see the defense react, see the secondary react to the quarterback. You don't have to just watch the line. So I'll be really interested in what the Jets do this year. But yeah, week one, I've been waiting for a long time.
I mean, you can't sell yourself too short here. The Jags had, it's a long time ago now, almost nearly 10 years ago, but you guys had that run with Bortles. It wasn't disastrous while he was down there. You guys were always kind of a fun team to watch every Sunday until it blew up. But
it was fun. Bortles was actually a lefty that threw the ball with his right hand, and they drafted him third overall. So it's tough, especially when you're in that quarterback purgatory. When you have a quarterback, you can, you're going to go to the playoffs every year. When you don't have a quarterback, it's almost as if you want him to show his cards immediately. Like, show me your hand. Don't throw 35 touchdowns your sophomore year when we all know you're not that great of a quarterback.
But you're preaching to the choir. You said you have the season tickets. You already know the pain I go through every Sunday. Sundays haven't mattered for me in probably 6-7 years. Just write them off. And then last year we had a little bit of we had fun with it last year. But this year we're down to business, so we're looking forward to every single Sunday as a Jets fan. I was pumped about it.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
So let's just recap Thursday night's phenomenal game. Now, hand up, full disclosure. I had to go to work on Friday early, so I went to bed after I forgot. I think the Chiefs went 3-and-out to start the second half, or was it the Lions? I don't know who it was, but I watched the first drive. Chiefs went 3-and-out, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, there was a 3-and-out, and I said, all right, probably nothing much is really going to happen. I bet Mahomes is going to run away with this game, cover the 4.5, which I had, and to my dismay, when I woke up and checked the box score, goddamn was I wrong. How are you feeling? Did you watch the full game, or did you go to sleep? There's no way you went to sleep.
Yeah, so I work in construction, so I got to be up at 4:30 in the morning. But
same. Well, not construction, but same time.
I don't know if you guys could smell that. You probably can't because you're on camera. But this is the smell of me tooting my own horn, taking the Lions money, spread early on, right? Because I'm a responsible gambler. So I didn't have more money to throw on Lions money line because it is gambling. It is risky, right? But I did say Lions were going to win, and I did say that under was going to hit, and we were well within that under. So, first and foremost, emotionally thrilled to win Thursday night, open up the season, win in KC. That was great. Financially, a lot more fun to also win. So yeah, it was a great game. It was run heavy, like I said. I mean, there was a lot of passing, but decent amount of running. I saw some things I liked. I saw some things I didn't like. But for the most part, you walk into Kansas City and you take a game like that. At that point, we're nitpicking if we're really going to complain. So,
especially at Arrowhead,
officiating. I really, and it's like I know typical Lions fan. I'm going to bitch and moan about the officiating, but what that right tackle was doing all night was disgusting, absolutely disgusting. And I don't blame him, but that was ridiculous. There was at what point, right? So Vecino, you're laughing at me. You're either laughing at me or you're laughing with me. I don't know.
I'll tell you why in a second.
So even if we don't want to, even if you want to tell me that it's legal to line up that much in the backfield, okay, fine. Maybe that's legal, right? Even if you want to tell me that it's legal to leave first with your back foot before the ball is snapped, because I've seen that out there. Okay, maybe that's true. Since when now, Pacino, you played plenty of football. I played plenty of football. Jerry, I don't know if you played in high school.
10 years.
At what, like, since when are we allowed, unless you're looking back at the quarterback, since when is anyone on the line allowed to twitch before the ball is snapped? Now, Facino, tell me, like, am I going off the rails? I don't understand.
No, it's just funny because this has actually been happening for years. And this is the reason that I actually didn't really want to re-sign Jawan Taylor, because he was a Jaguar. They drafted him second round. He was okay his first year, and then he started to do this. He started to get off the line quick, and it looks like a full start. Last year was insane. Every play looked like he was, full starting, but they never call it. So they never really talked about it either. And even in the Chiefs game in the divisional round, my dad sent me a text like, your right tackle just full starts every play. And I'm like, yep, pretty much, because they've never done anything about it. And then I was waiting for this moment, because when he went to the Chiefs, I was like, all right, as soon as this dude plays in primetime, they're going to be flipping out. And sure enough, everyone's flipping out. But it's been happening for a long, long time, so I don't really know if there's a solution.
But, like, even the twitching, like, how are you, like, the whole time, he's, like, moving his hands before the ball is snapped. He kept resetting his feet. You're not allowed to do that.
He's cheating.
And then every time, and I didn't blame him. I was mad at the officials, right? And every time Aiden Hutchinson got, like, the nearest bit close to Mahomes, you saw his whole shoulder pad was coming off. Jawan Taylor was like, take him out to dinner first, right? So I was furious. I was so furious that was literally that was the thumbnail of the blog I wrote about the game. Is Aiden Hutchinson getting a little Janet Jackson in primetime.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. It was so ridiculous. And whatever, we won, but, like, oh my God, if we lost that game, that would have been the first thing I would have been screaming about. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Well, now I saw that I mean, reading through Twitter in the morning, my eyes were half closed, but, like, I saw that one of the Chiefs linemen was tipping off whether it was going to be a run or a pass, given how his feet were set. It wasn't him, right?
It wasn't.
I think it was.
Oh, it was him.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, he lines up farther away on pass plays.
On pass plays, yeah, for his pass pro. So it's like, whatever. I mean, I just wish I want the league to do something about this, because this is absurd. And all the people that are like, oh, well, it's legal. Like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, you could get away with leaving a hair early, but he was literally a full step off the line before the ball's even in the air. It was crazy. So whatever. That's my 2 cents. But what do I know? I dig holes for a living.
Yeah, my biggest takeaway from that game is that Travis Kelce, everyone's like, they don't have Kelce, it's going to be fine. He's Patrick Mahomes, like, it's fine. And I was one of those people, because I truly do think Patrick Mahomes, post Brady, Rodgers, and Manning, Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback I've ever seen in that, like, small draft class area, quarterback wise. And it turns out, without Travis Kelce, you have a big problem on your hands, because, like I mentioned on Thursday night's stream, the Chiefs do not have a wide receiver room. They have MVS, and MVS showed up. I had him on one of my fantasy teams. He got like 7 points. So, okay, fine. I'm not going to complain about that. But other than MVS, you got Kadarius Toney with stone hands. The guy has hands for feet for hands, and he can't catch a goddamn ball. And apparently, I missed the play because I was sleeping, but I saw the replay. That tip pick six. Jesus Christ,
Vecino,
Christ.
I know you were creaming your shorts when you saw Brian Branch grab that ball out of the air and take it back to the house, because you were talking about him too when we drafted him.
Yeah, and it's funny because the Lions particularly had, I mean, a lot of the teams we were following for the draft had just interesting drafts. And, like, you can't just write off drafts because they drafted a linebacker at 18. Like, it doesn't matter. You have to see these guys play. People can get super excited. The Dolphins were excited about A-Chain. He's not playing. He's a healthy scratch this week. So you can be all excited for these guys, but it doesn't matter where they're picked, when they're picked, how much money they're making. They have to make an impact on Sunday. And Brian Branch obviously made an impact on Sunday. So you can ask for.
What'd you think of Jack Campbell, too, stretching out on the play right before that, knocking that ball out? That was unbelievable.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
All you can ask for is the rookies to play well, because you have a foundation. So you have to build on the foundation, obviously grow in the system, and the rookies playing their part is going to catapult you guys to, I don't even want to say it, but I'm going to say it because I've been thinking about it for a long time now. You guys could be a 1 seed in the NFC. So,
oof.
like,
Those are fighting words.
Yeah, it's crazy. You just have a great team. And you guys didn't play. Like, I feel like Gibbs was not utilized at all. Dave Montgomery will get phased out. So, like, throughout the season, you'll get better.
No way. I mean, Pat, to your credit, you called your shot here. You were waxing poetic all night Thursday night about the D-line, the O-line, and the run game. And all three of those, in my opinion, showed up and showed out for the cameras on primetime football. I was watching that game saying, wow, holy shit, he was right about everything that we talked about. And it was just like David Montgomery, I was saying this on Thursday night where he had the talent, but he was on a incompetent Bears team where he couldn't really showcase what he was able to do. I think he was averaging 6-7 yards a carry on Thursday night or something like that. He was running the ball up their ass.
Montgomery, I think that was his first half. Overall, I think by the end of the game he had averaged 3 or 2 something, but he had gotten a lot of yards, and it's just and I don't want to take up too much time with the Thursday night game, so we'll move on after this. But it's a testament to what Brad Holmes is doing in Detroit. And to be honest, you have to give a little bit of credit to the previous regime. Now, they were awful, but one thing Bob Quinn did a really good job of was finding offensive line talent, right? You're talking about 4 guys on that O-line that have been to a Pro Bowl, right? 4 out of the 5 guys on that O-line have been to a Pro Bowl. Very that's what Detroit is doing, is they're building from the inside and moving out. They took the deficiencies and they put all their resources into those deficiencies, because we're going to talk about all these games. We're going to talk about all these teams today. If there's one thing that's maybe said too much in football, but it's the truth, is that you can't do anything. I don't care if you're playing high school ball, college ball, or pro ball. If you don't have 5 guys in front of you that could move people, and 5, 6, 7 guys on the other side of that ball that could penetrate, because what's the biggest moneymaker outside of the quarterback now? It ain't the wide receivers.
Nope.
It ain't the left tackles. It's your pass rusher. That guy puts asses in seats, whoever that guy is. Von Miller was that guy for a while. Myles Garrett, right?
And Donald, yeah, sure. No, they're all out there.
Contract Boza got.
Yeah, that's the world we're living in now. It's your quarterback, and then it's your leading pass rusher. That's your moneymaker. So that was just it's great to see, and that's what allows Detroit to look as good as they look. That's how Jared Goff looks as good as. I don't think Jared Goff was a great quarterback, but when you give him the time to throw, he'll hit his windows, and he'll look like an all-star. So Hey, listen, I'm happy with the win. Let's move on, Jerry.
Let's do it. Yeah, congrats to you. Congrats to my boy Dan Campbell. Congrats to the city of Detroit. That was big to come out in prime time. But yeah, all right. So with that behind us, going into the 1 p.m. games, I'm going to let Ant the newbie kick us off here, mainly because I have some thoughts on his game that we talked about that he's going to cover. And yeah, floor is yours, bud.
All right. So 1 o'clock, my arch rivals, the Tennessee Titans versus New Orleans Saints. I'm actually very excited for the Saints this year. Not because of Derek Carr. He's the least exciting part. But they just have such a super easy schedule. When you have an easy schedule, you could usually get to the playoffs, whether you're a 7 seed or if they can win the division. NFC South's up for grabs. I think they start strong because they have a lot of veterans. They got a great middle linebacker, great running game. The quarterback is intelligent. He's going to have him prepared. Veteran quarterbacks, usually the O-line's more prepared. And, you're going up against a team in the Titans that they lost a lot of starters last year, especially off the defense. So the Titans are reeling. They have Tannehill and they have Derrick Henry. That's pretty much the mainstays of when they were good. And they have a great D tackle. But that's not enough to win you games. I do love their head coach. But I just think that New Orleans is going to come out super hot. They're going to be ready to go. They've been getting a lot of heat. Derek Carr's been – the guy's got a chip on his shoulder like no other. He got benched from a team that he was pretty much the entire team for a while. a team with no defense. He tried to do everything he could, but my pick is the Saints, and I expect it to be a blowout.
Blowout.
So there's
So
one.
you over too.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll come back to
There's
that
one.
later.
There's one key name you left off that list when you were talking about the Tennessee Titans, and it was a huge, in my opinion, huge. He's being written off for no reason, in my opinion. But during the offseason, they were able to sign D-Hop. And I know everyone's going to sit here and say Hopkins' best days are behind him. He's been floating around. This is his third team now in, 5 years, give or take. And if you ask me, he is finally going to have – Tannehill's not the end-all, be-all. He's not Mahomes or Allen. But Tannehill could throw the fucking ball. And we've seen Tannehill make chicken salad out of chicken shit before with some of these past Titan teams when they've gotten, on pretty deep playoff runs. So if he's going to put the ball in the right place for D-Hop, D-Hop's going to come down with the ball. If he can play how he played for Kyler, if he can play how he played for Deshaun, when he was there, Deshaun was Deshaun. This is pre-massage parlor and all that good stuff. But I think D-Hop is really going to surprise a lot of people out there. I think he's really been written off this offseason for whatever reason because no one wants an aging veteran. But at the same time, like you said before, they had Derrick Henry still. And Derrick Henry, as a seasoned fantasy player myself, I know that Derrick Henry gets off to slow starts in the seasons and he usually hits his stride around week 7 or 8, but he's still fucking Derrick Henry. He's gonna ground and pound all over them. And the Saints are fantasy darlings this year, at least in my my handy dandy JFK fantasy Bible I buy every year at the airport when I go on my end of season trip or end of summer trip. But they're very high in the Saints this year, mainly for what you said. They have one of the easiest schedules in the league. And that's not something to be taken lightly. That's true, and that can very much so work to their favor. But also at the same time, I think that the Titans, they lost a lot of returning players. There's going to be a hole in that offensive line now with Taylor Lewan gone. Granted, the guy was made out of glass bones and paper skin. He couldn't stay healthy, but there's going to be a hole, and I think they're going to be able to fill it well. But I think what it all comes down to is, again, like what you said with Vrabel. He's an incredible coach. He's a dog like Dan Campbell is. I think he's going to be able to rally his boys around. I think he knows that the Titans.
I think the pressure's on Vrabel. I think the pressure is definitely on Vrabel this year. Because
for what though? He's been showing out every year. They haven't really had great success, but the Titans have been, okay, serviceable. If the Titans were my team and I'm going to the first round of the playoffs every year and getting knocked out, I'm happy.
This is the only saving grace for the Titans. Alvin Kamara. The only reason that they have a chance is this dude's not playing. But when he gets back, I think the Saints going to run. I do.
He has a hell of a fill-in, too, in my opinion. We talked about this Thursday night. I'm huge on Jamal Williams. I think he's a great running back. I think he's going to do, especially while Kamara's down there, I think he's going to do great as a running back, the first running back on the depth chart. And I don't know. I think when Kamara gets back, you're going to see a change in the climate there, and it's going to be more so like a committee. It's not going to be just him being the guy anymore.
What does he have? 4 games?
I believe 3. It might be. It's 3. I thought it was 5.
What did he get suspended for?
He beat the shit out of somebody in Vegas.
Yeah.
Oh.
Can't be doing it. So I think you got the Saints, but who do you got for your game?
I have your team. I got the Jaguars and the Colts. And I'm going to be honest with you here. The Colts ain't bringing too much to the table. I think we're going to see the Colts at the top of the draft this year in some regard. And that's not to say, I don't know if he's watching, but I apologize to my boy Mike Peniago. I know he's a diehard Colts fan. Anthony Richardson looked pretty good in the preseason. I won some money playing them in preseason because I hate myself and I like to gamble on preseason football when there's nothing else going on. But that being said, I don't think much is going to be happening in Indianapolis. I know he's like we talked about before, like what you were saying, that with your rookie quarterback, you kind of want to see their hand immediately. So I think they're going to be out there looking for a lot to come out of Richardson early. And I just don't think it's going to be there because there are going to be a ton of growing pains. He doesn't have the veteran, if Matt Ryan would have stuck around to kind of help him through things, I think it would have been better. I believe they got the redhead bandit. What's his Andy Dalton? I think Andy Dalton's backing up Richardson. I'm not entirely positive if that's true or not. Somebody can fact check me out. Gardner Minshew. Oh, that's my guy. That's my guy. You want to talk about You want to talk about Jags legends? That's my guy. That's my biological father. I had Gardner Minshew one year for Halloween. It was a huge hit for everyone who knew who he was.
That's great.
So I take that back. I stand corrected. He does not have a veteran presence. Gardner Minshew's been around the block, but he doesn't have the experience that somebody like Matt Ryan would have, or even Carson Wentz if he was still out there. So I think there's going to be a lot of pains there. Obviously, the elephant in the room, Jonathan Taylor out, not playing for at least 4 or 5 games, I believe he is, because he's on the PUP list. That's going to be a change of dynamic there. They do have a pretty solid receiver in Pittman. I think Pittman's good. I think Pittman can make, again, chicken salad out of chicken shit, where he can do stuff where, like, just put the ball in the right area. I'll come down with it. I think he's a pretty stellar receiver. That's fantasy. That's purely fantasy bias because I have him on like 3 different teams, but we'll see. Now for the Jags, I think this is going to be the year that we see Trevor Lawrence not quite get to his era of dominance in college football, but start to see, oh yeah, those Peyton Manning comparisons out of the draft, yeah, okay, they had some traction. I can see where they're going with this. I think we're going to see Trevor Lawrence really start to come into his own this year, and he's got a team behind him. They signed Calvin Ridley, which people, again, like D-Hop, are kind of writing him off, but I feel like other people are also kind of on the other side of the spectrum here, where they're saying, all right, yeah, he hasn't played in a year, but he took that year, and unlike Deshaun Watson, where he came into the season last year halfway through after missing, a year and a half worth of football, not really prepared. Allegedly, Calvin Ridley has just been working like a dog in the gym and on the field, just honing his skill and getting better from an already, like, stellar couple of seasons in Atlanta. So that's going to be interesting to see that dynamic. They have who else do you have for the receivers? I'm drawing a blank on it.
Well, Christian Kirk should show up. I think having Calvin Ridley will help Christian Kirk, because Christian Kirk was getting that number 1 every weekend. So
yeah,
I think that'll help. But the Jaguars do a good job of spreading the ball out. I think their scheme is what really gives Trevor Lawrence that edge on people. But of every player on the Jaguars, I think that people forget the number 1 all-time leader in ACC history in points scored, which is a kicker stat, is Travis Etienne. And last year he scored 5 touchdowns. So I think that number is super low. I think it was skewed. Don't think they used him a lot down in the red zone. And I think that number will go up massively. And I think that they'll lean on him. I think he's going to have a really tremendous year.
I agree. It's tough. It's tough for Travis because last year he was behind James Robinson, which I think James Robinson's a pretty terrific back. He came to the Jets. He didn't really do too much for us, which kind of stunk. But he had a season and a half or so's worth of dominance in Jacksonville, I thought, where he was just running the board in fantasy. So he's A-okay in my book. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to stop rambling now. I'm picking Jags with the spread -4.5.
Jags with the spread. So one quick thing on Jags Colts, more so a Colts thing. And maybe Facino, you probably have some good insight here. I don't totally understand what Jonathan Taylor's doing, because I understand the whole holdout thing. Like, I get that. And a player, like, for example, what Chris Jones is doing in Kansas City, he has leverage, right? He sat up in that owner's suite in a Seahawks hat, which is really weird. And he sat up there and he watched his defense get basically torched up the middle, right? He watched them get gashed. And that's his leverage right there. You guys want to win a championship again? You guys want to be in the playoffs again? You want to be a dominant force again? You need to pay me, right? Yeah. And the leverage is there because the Chiefs, they have those championship aspirations this year, obviously, right? If you're the Colts, there's no rush to pay Jonathan. There's no reason to pay Jonathan Taylor, right? So the Colts could win. I mean, listen, if they win 9, 10, 11 games this year, that's house money. That's awesome. But it's a rookie quarterback, right? It's a new head coach. I don't think the aspirations this year are to try to win games. I think it's to, like we talked about before, developing a foundation, developing a culture. That's pretty much what this year is. I don't think Jim Irsay, I don't think this coach is going to be under any, pressure to win games. I think he's got more pressure to develop AR-15, right? Yeah. The pressure is not to win. So if you're Jonathan Taylor, I understand that you want to make that money, but This team isn't going to pay you, and they're not going to trade you. So your best bet is to just play and then move on after that deal. And I know that sucks, but like, look at the money that Lev Bell never got.
I was going to say he Le'Veon Bell himself. He got the money. He got the money, but he never got the reputation back.
Yeah, but
he was stellar in Pittsburgh, and he went to the Jets, so we paid way too much.
If you calculated what he actually made from the Jets and what he left on the table with Pittsburgh, it was still about like 2-3 million short. So that's why he left money on the table.
The problem with Jonathan Taylor is the amount of carries he received at Wisconsin. So he came into the NFL with 940 carries under his belt. So when now he's going to his fourth year, he's only made $3.5 million so far. So this year he's going to get paid like $4 million. But if he sits out this year, or if he plays this year and gets hurt, he loses a lot of money. If he doesn't play this year, there's no tread this year on the tires. And I know it didn't work for Le'Veon Bell, but the way Jim Irsay has been acting, like I understand that running backs are undervalued or at this point devalued. But to have the owner like parading around, like saying like, "Oh, I'm not gonna like pay this guy," like, dude, how old are you? Like, have you watched your team play? He's your whole team. So I think that's the leverage, but it is what it is. I think he'll come back week 5, or we'll see a phantom back injury that we see. But I mean, it's a stupid situation.
That's the way these owners work too. And so like. If first of all, if he doesn't play this year, I don't think the year counts on his deal. I think he would have to come back next year under the same deal. If he sits out the whole season,
he has to come back week 8. If he comes back week 8, then he would be eligible. I think he'll have some sort of back injury by week 12.
Don't you think these owners are going to look at him and be like, I don't know, you really didn't play last year. You have all these carries under your belt, who's going to pay him after that too?
I think a team's going to pay him like that wants to make noise in the playoffs, like the Jets or even like the Lions.
No.
So the Lions have David Montgomery. Now I'm not saying like the Lions would do it, but I'm saying like a team like the Lions where you're going to the playoffs. So now you have David Montgomery, and then we're all crying about Jahmyr Gibbs week 1. I understand. I have on my fantasy team. I get I'm crying, but if you know that you're a playoff team and that's the bar you want to set yourself at, I don't want Jahmyr Gibbs to have more than 160 carries in the regular season. Keep that dude fresh, and he will run over everybody like Pacheco did in his run last year. So
yeah,
I think that's what it comes down to with Jonathan Taylor. Go to a competitor next year.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he'll get discounted too, for what it's worth. Like, he won't get his money, but whoever he goes to, because, like, at that point, they're kind of almost throwing him a bone. Like, well, you're not going to get another job. Take this $1.5 million over 1. Take it, show us what you could do, and then we can talk. And then he comes out, plays like he played in 2021 when he won not rookie of the year, but offensive, whatever, the fucking rushing title. And just comes out, shows up, and the team gets incredible value. He gets to boost his stock back up. Everyone, it all ends happy. Look at that guy.
She's like, what are you doing over here?
Did I miss the pup? Is that your dog?
Yeah, no, you missed it. All dogs to me are men until proven otherwise. You said that's a girl, so hello.
She's got a Jaguar, a little
lady.
She's got the Jaguar thing on.
Oh.
Anyway,
what do you got, Pask? What's your 1 o'clock?
It's very fitting that you showed us your dog. Because when you show me your dog, it makes me start to think of Dog Pound. The Dog Pound in Cleveland. They got Joe Burrow coming in. He's coming in off that fresh calf. But that fresh calf ain't ready for the Dog Pound in Cleveland to run down his ass, baby.
Now, Jerry, what's the name of this song? I'll give you $20.
The song that just played?
Yep.
I have no idea.
This is the Raiders.
No, this is not.
No?
This is not. I just had that up. This is just their battle, the NFL Films battle song.
Oh, I'm wrong.
You're thinking of The Autumn Wind is a Raider.
It's a great one.
Yeah. I got Browns. Over the Bengals today. Why? Because week 1 never makes sense. Everything I think I'm usually wrong about in week 1. And week 1, contrary to popular belief, is not indicative of how the rest of your season is going to go. Honestly, a lot
Good.
of
keep saying that, so I feel better when the Jets lose to the Bills tomorrow night. But we'll get to that later.
No
I
shot.
don't think so. I think you guys are going to win that game, but
So do I. But
that's neither here nor there. I like Joe Burrow not playing all preseason, basically out all of camp with that calf issue. I think they're going to take it very gingerly with him, right? Because similar to Kelsey being out in that week 1 game, the Bengals could lose week 1 and they'll be fine, right? I think this game is bigger for the Browns than it is for the Bengals. I like Cleveland getting 2 points here. I don't love the money line, but I guess that's kind of what it is when you're getting 2 points.
it's low, right? They're only plus 120, right?
Plus 110 money line. I kind of like an over-under of 46.5. I feel like they could go over that. Especially, too, if the Bengals kind of blow out, if I'm wrong, as I usually am because I'm a mush. If the Bengals blow them out, I think they could definitely get to that 46.5 number, 47 points. But that's my rationale, man. The Browns are home for this game. It's week 1. It never makes sense. And I don't believe so. All the shit that happened outside of football, that's all that stuff is fucked with Deshaun Watson. But just talking about Deshaun Watson, the football player, you watch this guy at Clemson, you watch this guy in Houston. I don't understand what happened. How he just went to Cleveland and was awful. Is that a Kevin Stefanski thing? Is that because where did all that talent go? Right?
I don't think it is because Baker played okay under Stefanski. I mean, Baker's Baker. Right. Everyone loves to fucking give him shit, but Baker looked okay. Baker was the reason why the Browns made the playoffs that one year they made the playoffs, and they ran him out of town, so whatever. But I don't think it's Stefanski. I think what you're saying, I think it was a time away from football because you got to keep in mind, Watson sat out the year before the allegations came out because of contracts.
Yeah.
So that's 1 year off the field. Then on to top of that, 15 games sus from fucking Goodell for whatever happened in the parlors and shit. And that's like a season and 7/8. That's almost 2 full seasons of not playing,
right.
Full speed, 100% football on an NFL field. And that's going to take away from you as a quarterback. We've seen it happen. You look at Kaepernick, you look at, I guarantee you, going back to the Saints, Jameis Winston, he hasn't been on the field in a while. When he gets back, when he gets his shot back, it's not going to be the same. It means a lot. I think it means a lot more for quarterbacks, especially with how the game is so, the game changes year after year after year because, when he was there, it was still somewhat kind of a run-heavy league transitioning into, the air raid offensive surrounding league that it is now. And I think he finally had his chance to, adjust to it in the 3 or 4 games that he played last year. And I agree with you here. I think Deshaun Watson this season is going to come out guns blazing. I think we're going to see something more reminiscent of the Texans and Clemson Deshaun Watson. I hope at least.
Yeah.
But disavow him as a person.
I like the pick against the Bengals. They started slow last year.
Yeah.
That's one thing. And it's any given Sunday too. Deshaun Watson though, when he wasn't on the field, when he was going through that stuff, it was such a massive – it was so much more than football that now that it's over with, people have their opinions. It really is irrelevant. What the matter of fact is that he is not – there's no way you could have focused on football for 1.5 years. So as much as you could blow out your knee, you're still focusing on football. I don't know if he was able to. So I did give him last year as the benefit of the doubt. This year, no more chances. You're getting paid way too much money. You better show up, and they should make the playoffs. If not, it's a failure. It really should be. I would look at it as a failure.
He should show up. The talent is there. Like Deshaun before. If you said Deshaun Watson's name before all of this stuff, right? Before all this off the field crap, this was a premier NFL quarterback. When we talked about who the best guys in the NFL was, you had to bring up Deshaun Watson. The guys.
Does he have an MVP?
No. I think he was. No. I think he got MVP votes one year. I think
the problem is his best year. They were 4-12, so he couldn't get any votes. But he was unbelievable.
this is a guy that could rocket it all over the field. He's got all the physical intangibles. He's got the mobility, and he's huge. He's a big guy, and he's not stupid, right? So, I just don't buy that he fell off a cliff, and I don't buy that he was in a good system in Houston. We know that's bullshit. That wasn't. So, I agree with you, Casino. You're cashing those checks, man. You're kind of the face of this franchise, right? Like, to a degree. It's time to step up, put your boots on, and go to work, man. Because
I think he's cashing bigger checks than Lamar still. I think I could be wrong, but I think he is.
No, for sure, because he got the guaranteed money.
Yeah.
Lamar might be cashing a bigger check postseason, but I will say this just really quick about them. Going back to where you were saying they're going to be top dog in the NFC North, AFC North. That's a tough division. You know, you got the Ravens who are going to show up this year. They made a lot of improvements where they need to make improvements. I think there's going to be a lot of game there. More on that in a little bit, though. You got the Bengals, obviously, who they're playing against there. This is a divisional game to start out the season for them, which is going to be hot. I think it's going to be a big-time game on both ends. But the Bengals are obviously the Bengals. We know what they can do. And then you got the Steelers, who are like sneaky underdogs here. They're a scrappy team. You know, I think the Steelers are going to end up being like the Lions and Jets of last year, where like you're going to write them off, but they're going to come in. They're going to walk out of the season with like 6 or 7 wins and can honestly maybe walk away with, like, depending on how the climate goes, bearing injuries or bearing whatever happens throughout the rest of the season. Steelers could walk away with a second playoff spot in the AFC North. We'll see what happens, but like the AFC North is going to be a tough division to play in. I don't know exactly.
Do you like the Steelers today over the Niners?
Me? No.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
I don't know where
we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah. All right. So
we'll get to the overall slate in a second. But yeah, no, I'm good. That's all I had to say about that. The AFC North is a hell of a fucking conference.
So am I up to my favorite matchup of the day?
Sure.
The 4:00 Rams and Seahawks.
No, wait. Let's give our picks for the 1:00 game before we get to 4:00.
Sorry, let's do it.
No, you're good. You're good.
Jerry, run through the slate and we'll give you our picks. Oh, now are we doing game winners, or are we talking spreads?
If you do what you want. You want a spread, you say spread. You want a winner, you say winner. Whatever you feel like it is. Okay. So 1:00, we got the first game on the slate. We got Texans and Ravens, and I'm gonna be honest here. I'm a Lamar guy. My man Big Hick, who's tuning in right now, watching the stream. Big fan of the show. Shout out Big Hick. He knows I'm a Lamar guy. Big trust. That's my guy. Always has been. That being said, I'm taking the Texans at 10 points. I think that spread's juicy. I think, I agree. I agree with what he said. I know what he's saying. They got weapons now. It's going to be a game. I think the Ravens are going to play well, but I think 10's a lot of points here. And I think the Texans, again, are going to fall into kind of this a step below the Steelers realm, where the Texans are going to kind of make noise against teams where they're not expected to make noise. This game included with this big of a spread. And also, like we've been saying, it's week 1. Anything can happen. This is where, no one really knows what's going to happen in week 1. It's kind of always a crapshoot. So I think 10 points is a lot to be getting in the first week game.
Casino, what do you think?
I want to agree, but I just think that veteran head coach, rookie QB, what's his name? Right tackle's out. They're going to be dealing with their tackle's out, which is the last position you want to be out when your quarterback hasn't played a snap in the NFL. So I do think that the Ravens blow them out. Last year, week 1, I watched the Ravens win by like 20 points, and they put up points on that Jets defense. So I do think the Ravens will win by more than 10, for sure.
Okay. I don't like this game at all. I'm in a couple survivor pools. Or am I in a couple? I don't know. I'm either in 1 or 2. I don't know. But people are telling me to take Ravens. Yes, logically, the Ravens should definitely win. They should definitely win by more than 10. But, I don't know. So if I have to pick here, I would take the Ravens with the spread. But I don't feel good about it at all, just because also it's week 1. I'm not the biggest Lamar guy, but I mean, in terms of talent, I think there's just too much on the Baltimore side of the field, So that's where I'm at. I would take the Ravens with the points, but I wouldn't actually bet the game.
No, I'm not betting this game.
Yeah.
All right. Second game, we already talked about it. We got Bengals Browns. I'm sticking with the Bengals. I learned the hard way in the playoffs last year when I was in Vegas for Bengals Bills. You do not bet against Joe Burrow. You stay on the family. You keep backing Joe Cool. He's gonna always, if he hears that I bet against him, he's gonna be like, "All right, Dan, fuck you, Jerry. We'll see what we can do. I'll prove you wrong." And then he's gonna go out and win. So I'm sticking with the Bengals here. I agree with all the points that we've been making here. I think Joe Burrow sitting on the preseason is going to be a factor. I think they're going to get off to a slow start, and they're going to win the games that matter, like weeks 5 through like 13.
I have no good analysis behind my pick with the Browns. Literally, my only analysis is that it's week 1, and I should go against what I think will really happen. So if I'm betting this game, which I think I'm going to, I think I'm going to put it in our parlay in the end. I would take the Browns, and I probably at that point, if you're getting plus 110 on the money line, you're probably better off just betting with the spread. With that $10 difference, it's not really worth it, in the event that they lose by 1 or by 2. So I would take Cleveland, and I'd take the points with it. I wouldn't bother with the money line. I like the over-under in that game, 46.5. I'm inclined to bet over on that, but those AFC North games sometimes can be real low scoring. So, but I definitely like Cleveland plus 2. Casino?
I like the Browns. Money line. Not much else to say. It's week 1. You're right. Give me the Browns.
Jerry,
right.
What do we got?
Bucks Vikings, and I am sticking with Minnesota here. I am a Kirk Cousins truther, even though he has broke my heart on multiple occasions last year. I believe him. I believe in him. I watched a quarterback documentary on Netflix. I think he's a great guy. I think he's a great husband and father. I think he's a good quarterback. I didn't say great. I said good. That being said, Vikings have a couple of big takeaways here. They lost Thielen, but they still have Jefferson. They lost Cook, but the guy stepping up apparently is Dalvin Cook diet, to my understanding. I don't really know too much about him. But I think the Buccaneers stink. I think Mike Evans is going to be kind of, he's in that mode that we saw Chris Johnson or whatever his name is in the Raptors at Kansas City. He's in fuck you, pay me mode, and the Buccaneers just aren't going to pay him. So he's not holding out, but I don't think he's going to really show up and be Mike Evans that we usually know. I personally think Chris Godwin sucks because I've had personal quarrels with him in fantasy football. He's never shown up for me, even though I pick him high. And then you got my guy Baker behind center. And we all know Baker doesn't really have the makings of an elite quarterback. He's serviceable, but he's not elite. I think the Buccaneers are going to end up the season being on the bottom end of the NFC this year. So I'm going Vikings, money line, no spread.
1 p.m. Kirk Cousins. I think that's all we need to know, right? Not a standalone game. He's hidden in the 1 p.m. slate. So odds are he'll throw for 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, have like a record-breaking performance.
Exactly.
What I think is more, what I think about more with what we said about Tampa, what you said about Tampa, I agree with you on that Mike Evans take. I think even more so though. I think he's traded by the deadline. I don't think he makes it through the year. Dude, I don't even know if Todd Bowles makes it through the year.
No, Todd Bowles fucking sucks. Get Todd Bowles out of here.
He is an awful head coach. Like, he's a great defensive mind, but he is an awful head coach.
You don't got to tell us. We know. We know. Dude, you don't have to tell me.
I don't understand. You had like, I know that he didn't have the experience, but you had Byron Leftwich there. I don't know if he's still the OC.
No, he doesn't have a job.
Byron Leftwich doesn't have a job?
No. That's
nuts. See, like, to me, when Arians had to step down, that would have been the guy I would have went to. I wanted Byron Leftwich. Like, I wanted, when the Lions had a head coach vacancy, I was looking at him as one of the guys I wanted. When I had heard,
you were making the calls.
Yeah, it was me. No, like, when I heard that they were looking into Tampa, I had heard, like, I was like, oh, great, Byron Leftwich, and I was like, no, Todd Bowles. I was like, I don't want this guy. I saw what he did in New York. He's awful. So I don't think he makes it to the end of the season. I think he's gone. I think Mike Evans is gone. I think it's going to be awful in Tampa. Yeah. That's a lock to me. Minnesota 4.5. But fucking bang that as hard as you can.
Yep.
You got
One
any?
more. Let's do one more game. Then I'm gonna have to switch to my phone because I gotta go to a open house for my client at 11. So let's do
Nice.
What do we
You
have?
want to do Niners Steelers? You want to do I mean Panthers Falcons. Ignore that. We talked about Jags Colts. We talked about Titans Saints. So let's do Niners Steelers. We didn't get into Niners Steelers.
Okay.
I'm sticking with the Niners here. Talked about it really briefly. I know there was question marks at quarterback here. I think we saw enough out of Brock Purdy to know that he can carry a team with weapons. I don't know if he can carry an offense on his own, but he can carry a team with weapons, and the Niners have no shorter weapons. They have Ayuk, they have Debo, they have McCaffrey. The list goes on and on, not to mention the defense they have and Kyle Shanahan's offense. I think the Niners run away with this game. I think the spread's too close for comfort. Hammer the spread. It's free money. Take them. I'm taking them. I'm taking the Niners minus 2.5. I've seen the line drop down to 2, but I'm taking 2.5.
Casino, what do you got?
The Steelers are 6-2-1 in the last decade. Week 1, I think Tomlin just has his dudes prepared. You know, the standard is the standard. I actually think the Steelers will win money line.
This is another game I don't like. It's just odd scenario. Bosa got paid, but hasn't really like put on shoulder pads yet. So I don't know how much of an impact he's going to have today. If he does, Steelers as home dogs though. Like I know this isn't the Steelers that we grew up with, but still like Steelers as home dogs is a weird. So I don't know where I am at that game. I would probably lean Pittsburgh +2, but I don't feel good about it. Very similar to the Ravens Texans game. I don't feel good about betting on that game, so that I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole, which means I'll probably throw in a bet at 12.58 on the Steelers. So
there you go, guys. I'm gonna jump off and join on my phone when I get in the car. I'll be right back.
All right, you got
it. All
it.
right, we'll transition over to the 4 o'clock games to get started here. I'll go first if you don't mind, Pask. I'll just get this out of the way now. I think and I believe this is the Fox game of the week to my understanding. This is a big game in the Midwest in your conference as well. And I think this is a tale of 2 tapes that we're going to see with a dramatic shift in the NFC North here. It's Packers-Bears, 4:25 p.m. game, America's game of the league on Fox. Now with this game, we got, like I said before, tale of 2. We're watching 2 teams transition in different directions here. We're seeing the Green Bay Packers transition post Rodgers here. They lost. One of their biggest receivers is down. I believe Christian Watson got hurt. He's not playing today. I think that's going to be a factor. However, there are still some familiar faces sticking around in Green Bay, and Aaron Jones and help me out here. Who's the AJ Dillon?
Yes,
I think it's AJ Dillon. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to expect out of Jordan Love here. To my understanding, I wasn't really watching him too closely, but I heard that he had a pretty okay preseason. He looked okay. He's going to be like, I just don't know what to think about this guy. You know, he sat dormant behind Rodgers for like 2-3 years, so he didn't really get too much action. This is his first season of NFL full-speed football, playing against men now. He's not in college anymore. I think he's going to have at least a hard acclimation for the first couple of weeks of the season, transitioning into full-on NFL starting quarterback play. That being said, the Bears are on the other side of the spectrum here, in my opinion, and have done nothing else but get better in the offseason. They signed DJ Moore. DJ Moore has always been a favorite of mine in fantasy. I'm always sure to pick him up every year, including this year. He's a stud wide receiver. He did great things in Carolina with really nothing really going on there, and he was just a star week in and week out. They got Justin Fields in his own, and I think Justin Fields, we saw it last year. Yeah, you get that fly. We saw Justin Fields last year.
He's killing me. Oh, I got him! I got him! Yo,
this is the stuff you guys come here for.
Nuts. And we got it on video.
Fucking Mr. Miyagi over here. But we saw Justin Fields start really to come out last year towards the middle of the season, and then he got hurt, and then he missed the remainder of the season, which is fine. They were able to get a low draft pick and use that as leverage to land DJ Moore. But I really think that this is the year that he's going to hit his stride and show us that now he can pass and throw the ball. And now he has weapons on top of that, because before he never really had weapons to throw to, and now he does. And on top of that, you got Khalil. They have a decent backfield going there that I think can really, somewhat take the load off of Justin Fields where he doesn't have to rush the ball for 200 yards every game, and that's going to help him stay healthy and stay on the field.
That's just not going to be conducive for like a long career, a long season.
It's not. It's not sustainable. And that's why I think we saw what the Ravens do what the Ravens did and get receivers, because they want Lamar to stick around for a long time, especially after the paycheck they're giving him now. Right. So you got to have receivers. The Bears got receivers. They also have a decent run game, and they're going to kind of, have him to run the ball, but don't make that your fucking go-to play. You got to scramble. You want to run a draw as a surprise, run a draw as a surprise, but don't have that be your primary crutch as an offense. All that being said, I'm sick of rambling about this game because whatever. But I'm taking the Bears here. I think the Bears kind of blow the doors off the Packers here as a coming out party for the Bears and a realization, a great reality check for the people in Green Bay to realize, oh, okay, life is different now. We no longer have Aaron Rodgers. This isn't the same team. We need to start from the ground up. They'll start building. They'll get better again. But right now is not that time. Bears, you could probably double that spread and be okay because the spread's only at 2.5, or actually it's 1.5.
Yeah, I have.
You could probably.
The Barstool Sportsbook is showing -1. So I think
are they live in New York?
They are not. No, I have the Score app up, and the Score app has the Barstool Sportsbook odds. So yeah, I think a lot of what you said, I would say myself. I'm not writing off Jordan Love until I see it. Like I just need to see that he's dead after the trauma that Green Bay quarterbacks have caused in my life. So, I want to agree with you. I want to say that I think the Bears are the better team. I think they're both trending in different directions.
Nice win horse.
I don't even know what you just said. What'd you say?
the Brian Windhorse.
Oh, okay.
The meme.
The Bears, I would take the Bears here. I would take them at -1 if that's your odds. I don't know about this over-under, 41.5. I'm a little indifferent on it in terms of.
That's low. That's low.
Yeah, it's one of those that it's like when you see in college football, like when you see it over-under at 70 something, you're always like. But although whenever I see that, I'm a very much like hit the over. If they're expecting that much, hit the over. Because I've been that idiot a few times where I was like, oh my God, 79 points, they'll never touch that. Like SMU Tulsa or something. And they just, they run up that score. So
I'm so bad with overs and unders, I stay away from those. I can never get it right. And I always I love overs, I love points, I love shootouts. So I'm always gonna take the over, and then it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I think the Bears are gonna be better. I like where they've built. I like that they've focused on the line and they've gone out that way. The only thing I don't understand if you're the Bears is that you traded away Roquan Smith and then you paid other off the ball linebackers this offseason that are not as good as Roquan Smith. Like that's the thing that just made no sense to me. They traded him to Baltimore, I think for a second round pick or something, and then paid 2 other guys. Like, why wouldn't you just pay Roquan Smith? This guy's been a stalwart in your defense. He's a stud middle line. Like, how many stud middle linebackers do we have in the NFL anymore? Years ago we had Ray Lewis and Urlacher and the guys out in San Francisco. We had Kuechly, we had Navarro Bowman and Patrick Willis. Like today, there's nobody. There's not a lot of really good middle linebackers anymore. And you had that. You probably had the best one in the league. And you just let him go to pay 2 other guys. That made no sense to me. But other than that, I think they're building the right way. I think they've got some weapons. Hey, time to nut up or shut up if you're Justin Fields. All this MVP talk you get every year, time to come out and actually do it.
I think we're going to see it. I genuinely think we're going to see it. I know you're hoping against it because this is your division and whatnot, but I genuinely think we're going to see Justin Fields. We saw flashes in the pan last year when he had nothing surrounding him and it was a one-man show, and now he has friends to play with. And I think it's going to do wonders for him. But all right, that's enough about that game. Yeah, you go ahead. We'll wait while we wait for Ant. You take it over.
Well, no, he's texting me right now that he's having trouble with the link, so I'm trying to send it to him and see what's going on. But let's keep banging away here. You want to go into the next game?
Yeah, what's your game?
My game for the 4 p.m. slate. There's 3 games I liked. I like the Eagles, Pats. I like Raiders, Broncos. I like Dolphins, Chargers. If I had to pick one of those three, that's going to be on one of my 3 TVs back here. I think I'm going to have Raiders, Broncos on. I think the Raiders are a hot mess. It's not so much to see what the Raiders are because I think the Raiders are going to be awful. I think Josh McDaniels will get fired. Like, I think it's a joke over there. But the Broncos, what I want to see is, all this shit talk that Sean Payton had this offseason, talking about the previous regime, which, yes, it was bad, right? There's a reason Hackett didn't make it to the end of the season. But, like, don't be so quick to talk about the previous regime. You know, like you haven't played yet. You haven't.
He has a leg to stand on. He's Sean fucking Payton. He was Mr. Sustainable in New Orleans for years. But I agree.
What's the last thing we saw? And I love Sean Payton. I truly love Sean Payton. He helped mold Dan Campbell. So I got no qualms with Sean. But, like, your last few years in New Orleans were kind of suspect. As Drew Brees started to fall off a bit, like, you kind of avoided your defense. You just left that up to Allen and didn't really touch it from what it looked like from our angle. And you kind of just, like, I love Sean, but you also kind of think with him that, like, are you kind of just riding that success that you had, you know, a decade and a half ago? Or are you the real deal? So that's what I want to see. I want to see, A, is Sean Payton a good fit in Denver? And B, was last year with Russell, was that just a blip in the radar? Or is that what we're going to see? Right? Because it does seem like there's some personality differences over there. It does seem like there was a lot of weird things. Like Russell had an office and, like, all that weird nonsense.
But doesn't talk to the team, made everyone give him a standing ovation and shit like that. Yeah, I agree. I'm selling stock in Wilson. I was riding high on him last year, and he kind of really put a bad taste in my mouth.
I just want to see. I just want to see what it looks like, and that's, to me, like, if you're the Broncos, you had a top 5 defense last year. You had a bottom, I think, the worst offense in the league. You know, if you're holding teams to under 20 points, like, per game, you should win at a minimum. Even with a bad offense, you should win 10 games, and they didn't do that. So, you know, it's not up or shut up time in Denver. They gave up a lot. Forget the money that they're paying Russell. They mortgaged their future to bring in Russell. So it's time to do something.
I think they're going to be okay. I think it's kind of similar to Watson in a sense, where, like, it was kind of just like an I can't even say the word right now. Happy Sunday. It was just a mishap. I think we're going to see Russ return to form. He has weapons. He has Judy. He has Sutton. They got a lot going on. They have a great running back. I think everything for Denver is going to be trending upwards this year. That being said, while the Raiders are a dumpster fire and there's not a lot going on there, I'm taking the Raiders to win this game outright. I think I think the lights are going to be kind of bright in the Mile High City. Even though I think they might be playing this game in Vegas. I'm not entirely sure.
No, they're playing in Denver.
Are they in Denver? Okay, cool.
Do you like the 3 points that the Raiders are getting, or would you go?
That's exactly what listen. Okay. When I first started gambling, I was taught a little bit of a trick. And this goes for everybody. And I don't know if we still watch it or not, but shout out Dougie Fresh if you are. If you see a +3, that +3 is going to win the game. Like, you could, if the spread is +3, that team is not only going to win, but if you want to get fucking crafty with it, you reverse that money line, or you reverse the spread, and you take that dog -2.5. And that's how this man right here won $600 the year Joe Burrow went and lost in the Super Bowl. Wow. I was just, because every playoff game, the Bengals were -3. I would take the Bengals -2.5, or I'm sorry, the Bengals were +3 every playoff game because they were kind of dogs going into things. I would take the Bengals -2.5 every playoff game, and I would kind of bet a little bigger, up my units, go like, I'm a small player, but I would put it $25, $30 on these games and walk out of there with like 100, sitting pretty. Wow. So if you see that +3, that's an indication to kind of start considering a dog here. And again, like you were saying, with that line in mind, I think they're going to come out. I think people forget how serviceable of a quarterback Jimmy G is. He's not the end-all be-all like we were talking about before. He's like Kirk Cousins. He's good. He's not great. You can't do a whole thing around him, but he's going to get the job done. Look what he brought the fucking Niners to a Super Bowl. And that was the first iteration of the Niners. That's not the Niners we know today with all these weapons around them. That was the very first, and people blame that on Kyle Shanahan. Okay, fine. But still, you look at the Raiders. The Raiders have, they don't have too much. They got Devontae Adams, who is a stud. I know he's not happy, but he's a team player. He's not like any of those other diva wide receivers who are holding out, yelling and screaming and this and that. He talked to the media. He said, look, they're going in the direction. I don't necessarily agree with the direction, but I'm going to do my job. I'm going to play the game, and we're going to do our best to get wins out there. I respect that because that's something you don't see every day out there. On top of that, they got my boy, Clemson alumni, Hunter Renfrow, who, in my opinion, I mean, granted, he got paid. He didn't have the best season last year. But Hunter Renfrow is a sneaky wide receiver out there who gets the job done consistently. You have third and short, you're going to throw it out to him in the flat, and he's going to get you that first down. Or if you're on the goal line,
they're going to miss down Waller this year.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that. He was definitely an X factor in that offense. But again, I think, and they have Josh Jacobs. People forget about Josh Jacobs, and including myself. I write him off too. Josh Jacobs is the best running back in the league last year. He's going to run all of them. He didn't get paid, but he's still kind of playing prove-it ball here to show his worth because I think did he get tagged again, or he only got a 1-year contract, right?
I know he's on 1 year. I don't know if it was the tag or not.
I don't think it was. I think he got a 1 year. I think he got a 1 year. Yeah. So again, he's still playing prove-it ball out there. He's still trying to get his money. So I think we're going to see Josh Jacobs do a number on them. And I know the Denver defense is good, but Josh Jacobs is still a phenomenal running back. So I think this game's going to be better than you think. And I think we're going to be able. I don't think like we've been saying this whole time. We said it Thursday. We said it earlier in the episode. And we're going to say it again when we get to the Monday night segment. It's week 1. It doesn't defy your season. And I think the Broncos lose this week. And then I think they start to make adjustments. Sean Payton has an idea on how they're going to play. Russ starts to understand the Payton system. And then as they progress through the season, we'll see the Denver Broncos get to like 7 to 10 wins in that range. I don't think they're going to be elite. I don't even think they're going to make the playoffs. But I think they're going to start coming into their own.
Okay. Rams, Seahawks.
I'm taking the Rams here. I know it's a bad pick, and I know the Rams are in shambles. I know Kupp is on the IR now officially, which fucking stinks because he was a first-round pick in a very deep fantasy league of mine, and I'm just never going to be able to make it up. But you got Matty Staff, Detroit alumni. That's your guy, always has been. He got the Super Bowl. And then, the run game's the defense is but you have Matty Stafford who's the king of making chicken salad out of chicken shit. Yeah. I also I think Van Jefferson's going to step up here in place of Kupp. And I only said that purely because I picked him off the waiver wire to replace Kupp, and I hope he fills in that spot well. We saw him have a solid season towards the end of last year. But I also think the Seahawks were an aberration. I don't think that was – I think that was Gino's swan song here. And maybe that's just me still being a fucking bitter Jets fan because we wasted a first-round pick on him and he did dog shit in New York. But, I don't know, man. I mean, he has weapons to throw to. They have a solid run game. Things look good. But I don't let me just get this straight. I don't think the Rams are going to win this game. I think the Rams cover. I don't think they win. I'm taking the Rams to cover. I'm taking them in my spread pool. Yeah, I don't think they win. I think the Seahawks win, but I think it's closer than we think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a shit show of a game too.
Yeah, it's in Seattle. I don't feel good about this game either. I would probably. I think the Seahawks win. I think I'm with you on the Rams. No, I'm not with you. I'm not. But I don't feel good about it. I'm going to take the Seahawks at -5, but I'm not betting that. If I had gun to my head, I got to pick something. That's what I would take. That's one of those games I look at I look at some player props or something, but I don't even love the over/under 45.5. What version of the Rams offense is out there, especially minus Cooper Kupp? I know they have Stafford, but I don't know that this is this is definitely not a shootout game.
No.
So I don't know. I don't.
No, it's going to be an ugly one.
My advice would be stay away from this game, but if I had to make a pick, I'd probably take.
I agree with that. The only reason I'm picking this is for my pool. That's the only because I have to. Right, we do a league, the league long thing. That being said, I was thinking about this the other day. Do you think the Rams made the right decision? They fucking mortgaged everything for that
Yes.
win now, and they got it. And it's
Yes.
I would think that would be worth it.
100 times over. 100 times over. Yes. If
So it's great. It's great for the organization, but like in a sense, like they almost don't really deserve it. They're like the LA Kings here. I'll die on this hill. Los Angeles teams do not have a fan base. They do, but they don't. It's kind of, to me, Los Angeles sports are everything that people fucking bust the balls about for the Rangers and Knicks. It's like, oh, it's all corporate. It's all suits. It's all this and that. No, Los Angeles sports is that because that's what you do out there. Like you look at SoFi. You're not going to SoFi as an average Joe. You're just not.
I think the Lakers have a fan base.
It's different for them. It's different for the Lakers. The Lakers are a storied, like they're a historic franchise.
But that's what I'm saying. Like I think the Lakers and the Dodgers are two fan bases that you could say are legit fan bases. Angels or everything else, Chargers. I mean, that was such a dumb move. I can't tell you enough of how dumb a move that was for the Chargers to move to LA. Like I guess maybe you're making more money, but like you have to split that stadium. I don't know. I don't really get it. And so I guess everything is fueled by money, but in terms of a fan base, like their fan base was in San Diego, and I think that was stupid. So
it's a great stadium, but what they're going for here is a Jets-Giants dynamic, and they don't have it because just based off pure recent success, recency bias. Sure, the Chargers are good. The Chargers can be dangerous, but also like, in my opinion, the Chargers are playing second fiddle, little brother. It's a Lakers-Clippers situation here because it's the same exact situation they have going on at the Staples Center. That's right. Not Crypto Arena, the Staples Center. Get that fucking straight. Just like Heinz Field is Heinz Field, not whatever it's called. It's not a Jets-Giants situation because in my eyes, the Jets and Giants are pretty equal. They're like, okay, like we do this, like it's fine, and like we split it, and it's no big deal. There, I think it's kind of very much so Rams leaning. And like it's just kind of like, oh, we rented out to the Chargers.
Who it's
because they have
who it leans towards? It's just going to lean toward whoever wins that year. Like, that's the type of town it is. LA didn't really need football. They have USC, and that's a fan base. But like also too, when USC's not playing well, like they don't show up. That Coliseum's empty. So
that place fucking rocks. I want to go there so bad. But correct me if I'm wrong. The Chargers are getting their own stadium. That's in the deck, or
I don't know.
No,
I do not know that. I mean, SoFi was $5 billion to build. I don't know what they invested into it. I don't know what they got from the city of LA, the state of California. Like I don't know about any of that. But I know it was a $5 billion stadium. So I don't know.
All right, well, let's keep the train rolling here. I know we're waiting for Ant, but let's get into our picks.
He just shot me a text. His link ain't working. He can't jump back in, so it's just going to be me and you to wrap it up.
No way. So we'll just keep the train rolling, just the two of us. That's fine. Just going back into the full slate. Let me pull it up here. I just saw your text. Where are we? Raiders, Broncos, we spoke about. I'm on the Raiders with the spread.
Chargers, Dolphins.
Got the Broncos. Chargers, Dolphins, another +3 game. I'm hammering the Dolphins. Hammering the Dolphins with the spread. I think the Chargers are a fraudulent team. I'm in that like category of people where they don't pull through when I need them to. And I think I like Justin Herbert. I think is a cool dude. I think Keenan Allen's a great wide receiver, possible Hall of Famer, but also probably not. But I think they have a lot of problems with injuries. They can never stay healthy. They can never get it done. That being said, it's week 1, so everyone's healthy, so it might be a different song and dance here. But I also think the Dolphins are a scary fucking team, and the AFC East is among the most stacked divisions in the league, and it's not going to be easy to get out of there alive. So I think the Dolphins are going to bring a lot to the table today, and I'm honestly surprised they're dogs against the Chargers. This heavy, too.
I like the Chargers. I don't bet on the Chargers in the end of the season because that's when they disappoint everyone. But week 1, everyone's healthy. Prime time to bet the Chargers in my book. I would take the Chargers at -3. So yeah, I like that everyone's healthy. I don't like that head coach, but I like him enough to beat the Dolphins because, like you think the Chargers are fraudulent, which I agree with that take. I think the Dolphins are fraudulent, man. I just don't. I don't see it. I don't see it in Tua. I don't see any of it. It's the Dolphins were the streakiest team in the NFL last year. They literally didn't. They would either go on a win streak, go on a losing streak, go on winning streak. Like it was feast or famine there. I think it's just a weak dynamic. So that's what I got. I would take the Chargers. I think the Dolphins gonna have a bad year. I think they'll be the last place team in that division.
Dan Patrick said that he thinks Mike White's going to win more games for the Dolphins than Tua Tagovailoa.
Yes, he said that on part of my take.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
All right. And the other
Eagles,
game we haven't spoke about, Eagles Pats. I think I'm taking the Pats here, much to my dismay, purely on a statistical standpoint. Again, going back to the Barstool thing, which we shouldn't be talking about a direct competitor. Hey, we'll get there one day. But on Sports Advisors, they mentioned a statistic where not just the Eagles, but the Super Bowl runner-ups, like the second place team, haven't covered that. They're like 4-18 against the spread on week one, like historically. And the Eagles, who are also notoriously bad week one against the spread. So, in my opinion, that's a combination for disaster. I think the Patriots are better than people believe. Again, much to my dismay, because fuck the Patriots. But I think they're going to come out here. I think it's going to be somewhat of a low-scoring game. I think the Patriots are going to pound the ball, and Belichick's going to control the clock here, and it's going to be something to see. I wouldn't be surprised if they win outright, but I think those 4.5 points are safe.
Okay, so you're taking the Patriots.
Yep.
I want to lean that way. They're home. Belichick. I do think the Patriots turn it around this year. I think they're potentially a playoff team. I just think the Eagles have too much talent, and I would take the Eagles, and I'd take them at 3.5. I like that. So,
going back to those numbers we talked about, 3.5 is a number that wins. So you might not be wrong there. But yeah, all right, that's that. Let's dive into Sunday Night Football. This is going to be a fucking game. We're talking about games to start the season. We got a lot. We got Packers, Bears. We got Jets, Bills tomorrow. We got Bengals, Browns. Like, there's a lot of really good divisional matchups week one that I was surprised that they're blowing their load so early here. That being said, if you haven't known, it's Giants, Cowboys, which fuck Dallas. We're taking the Giants all the way here. Now, necessarily, I don't know the ins and outs of Giants football. I have friends who I'm going to assume they're watching. I don't know who's watching, who's not, but let's just say they are for moral support. Diehard Giants fans. And they're like really, really into the weeds more than I would have thought they would have been like a couple of years ago, but I know they are now. And you got Saquon, who much like Jacobs is playing prove it ball. I think I know for a fact he got franchise tagged, I believe. I think something happened where he might have signed something later on, but he's on a short leash here too, playing prove it ball. I don't know the fucking legal terms of the contract, but I think we're going to see a showing from him. Dimes just got paid, and now he needs to prove his worth, which could be a good thing or a bad thing because he knows the pressure's on.
Jerry, I got my dog's going crazy upstairs. Let me go grab him. See where my wife is. I'm going to mute myself, take over for a little bit. All right.
Okay. All right. And then there was one. So we're going to save Sunday Night Football for once Pass gets back. We're going to dive into the Monday night game here just so I can go into my tangent on the Jets. As you know, I cover the Jets on the blog. That's one of my wheelhouses among them and the Rangers and other things. So let's just talk about that, and we'll dive back into it when he gets back here to get his thoughts too. So going into things, I saw the injury report yesterday. Breece Hall is on the injury report, but he's been on the injury report. We kind of knew this was coming, but everything is all pointing towards him playing and being healthy. And he was talking to the media saying he's not afraid to get hit, which I fucking hope so. And I'm glad that's the case because I don't want him, playing cautiously because that's when things get dangerous. And that's when that's when I think you're more prone to getting re-injured because you're so afraid of getting injured again that you start thinking, you overthink things and you're not just running, full speed into collisions and whatnot, and you're a little scared. Mekhi Becton is also on the injury report, and that scares the shit out of me because as we know, as I covered in my blogs, if you've been reading, if you haven't, please go read. The offensive line has been a problem all camp long, and even last year we had a shitty offensive line. But now, Mekhi Becton has been kind of up and down here, and, you never really know what you're going to get. He was a first-round pick, and he hasn't really proven his worth. He's been having a hard time staying healthy. Now he's finally healthy, and he earned himself that starting spot in camp, which wasn't covered on Hard Knocks, oddly enough, which I think should have, but I guess they want to keep the problems close to the chest because they had creative control, whatever. But I want to see him out there on the field because I think without him, we might be in a rough spot here, and we'll see that, especially with the Bills' defense, because the Bills have a fantastic defense. So let's hope he plays. Dalvin Cook's ready to go. He's suiting up week 1. He's good to go. Again, I'm going to reference my blogs a lot, and I hope you read it. If you do read, okay, you're hearing recycled information. But if you don't, this is all new to you. I'm glad you can finally hear my takes. I'm happy Dalvin Cook is here. I'm sad that he's going to be taking away opportunities from Breece Hall. But that being said, I'm hoping things are going to end up being somewhat of a Aaron Rodgers, Zach Wilson situation where he can kind of mentor and teach Breece the ways and help him take that next step into being an elite running back, which we all know he can after seeing the games he played last year before he got hurt. I'm excited to see what Cook can do. He sounds like he's ready to go. If you listen to his interview on Part of My Take, he was talking it up. Much like Aaron Rodgers, he's excited to be here. Once he made that visit, and it was tough, but apparently he, much like Rodgers, fell in love with the culture that we have in the building, which I'm super stoked about because the vibes haven't been this good in many, many years. Again, I've always been saying this, but since the last time Sanchez took us to the AFC Championship game, nothing really mattered as much as it does this year. Obviously, the elephant in the room here. Oh, Pascal's back. Just because while you're gone, I figured I'd go into my Jets tangent. Yeah. Now that I'm starting, I can't stop. Obviously, the elephant in the room here. A-Rod, we signed him. We got him. He's ready to go. The man loves the team. He loves New York. Very surprisingly, he loves the media. The media loves him. I can't believe things worked out this way. And this is for now. Once he starts playing, once things start really cooking, we'll see how the narrative changes. If it changes, maybe it gets better. It'll probably get worse.
New York media can turn on you in a heartbeat.
Which I think is going to be coming. And I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm excited to watch it. I'm excited to watch him combat the New York media. I think that's going to be a lot of fun.
What helps that situation in at One Jets Drive is that there's no real backup behind Rodgers, right? It's Zach Wilson, but he's a project. So what at least the saving grace kind of the situation is that Rodgers is here and he's your guy, right? So there's no that first pick he throws or the first fumble or the first bad game. You can't, no one's going to be cheering for the backup because there's no real backup there. So you're kind of all in as you should be, right? That defense.
No, and I think everybody knows that. And everyone's on board with that. I think we trust them.
The defense is legit. It's on this offense to honestly put up 24 points a game. Put up 24 points a game, 20. I mean, if you could get to that, typically in the NFL, if you could average, and obviously, forget the Chiefs and the Eagles and, those high-powered offenses are one thing. But typically in the NFL, if you could be in that 26 to 28 point range per game, you should be a 10, 11 game winner. And I think if you're the Jets, winning 10, 11 games is not a bad world to be in, man. But I think you'll win tomorrow night. I think you're going to beat the Bills. And I don't think the Bills I think them losing Brian Dable was big. I think it was really big. But I think, so to, in a way, to look at yourself as competing with the Bills. Yes, they're in your division, but ultimately you want to get to the dance, right? You really want to get into the playoffs. I think if you're getting in as a wild card, it's not the worst thing in the world. So to win the division, I would say the Bills, today, I'd say the Bills should, because that's what history's told us. But I don't know, man. I wouldn't sleep on.
The jury's out, dude. It can literally be anybody in this division. This division's going to be the toughest division to play in the league, Dolphins included. And like you were saying before, with as long as we're able to put up those points, I think the defense is going to be able to carry us home. They carried us last year with a very, very subpar defense that we learned. Oh, we need a quarterback, and all these pieces are together between our receivers. We have Garrett Wilson. We have a bunch of other people that we've added on this year that are going to be great. We have 2 undrafted rookies that I'm sure you saw in Hard Knocks that look fucking lights out that I'm excited to watch this year. And then we have Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook in the backfield ready to go with another rookie who's also a stud, and then Michael Carter as well. And now we have Aaron Rodgers. I think all the pieces are put together. The only thing we're missing is an offensive line, which is going to be make or break. And I was saying before while you were off screen, Mekhi Becton's on the injury report as of now. He's questionable. It's not out, but he's questionable. And I think that's kind of gonna be a really big difference maker here in this game on Monday night if he plays or not, because he's been I don't want to say a standout because the O-line sucks, but he's been kind of a difference maker in camp where you're kind of noticing, okay, with him under the line, we're great. With him there, without him there, there's going to be a bunch of holes. So we'll see what happens there. With the Bills, there's a lot of sneaky turmoil in Buffalo going on this year. Josh Allen's great. Josh Allen's the man. He's locked up. But your number one receiver is kind of being a diva now, and I don't know what's going on with Diggs, but I think that's kind of hurting morale.
Yeah.
Depending on who you ask, they're going to say there's no problem, but I think it's pretty
Yeah.
evident that there is a problem there. The coaching is also in question. I think there's a lot of questions going on in Buffalo right now. It's like, what's going to happen, especially after last year's early exit, and not that the divisional round is an early exit, but for them it was a Super Bowl or bust, let alone AFC Championship or bust, but they couldn't even get there. So, I don't know what's going to happen in Buffalo. I'm picking the Jets to win this game. I can't say that confidently. This is purely fan biasness, but I think this is going to be a great game. I would love to see the Jets win, but as we've been saying this entire episode on Thursday as well, it's week 1. With a Jets loss here, as long as we take the field looking competent with areas of, promise and seeing, okay, it's coming together. It's a long season. Don't cry when the sky is falling after week 1. Things are going to be fine. I'm happy. I obviously want to win. It would be huge, especially because it's a divisional win against the fucking Buffalo Bills, who have been a top 5 team in the league the past, 3-4 years now. I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited for this game. I have off on Tuesday, so I'm going to be watching the whole game. I'm super pumped. There'll be a blog to follow, which you can find on sunnydaysinflushing.com. And yeah, we'll cover everything. If we do a Thursday show, we'll talk about it. If not, we'll definitely talk about it on Sunday because I'm going to need to go on my tangent going into next week's game. That being said, let's just transition back to Sunday Night Football really quick, and then we'll get out of your face because we're almost at the 90-minute mark, which is wild. Sorry for keeping you here so long, but if you're still here, thanks for tuning in.
Thank you very much.
You're loving what you're here. Yeah. I'm sticking with the Giants here because fuck the Cowboys. I think Dak sucks. I think they have a couple of decent receivers. They have CD. Obviously, CD's the man. CD's a stud. They got Gallup is good, and then they signed Brandon Cooks, who is another veteran receiver who's being written off here for whatever reason because he bounces around. But just because you bounce around from dog shit team to dog shit team doesn't mean you suck, especially when you're a standout player on those dog shit teams. So I think the Dallas offense is going to have a little bit more to bring to the table than people expect, and I think their defense is also really, really good. But I think you're going to turtle into the bright lights, and I think things are on a downward projection in Dallas, and I think the G-men walk out of this despite being, somewhat heavy underdogs.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. I think the Giants win this game. I don't buy into any of this hype. Not that Dallas is getting so much hype, but I don't see it, man. I don't see it in Dak. I don't know about this run game. Everybody loves to talk about Tony Pollard and that they thought he was better than Zeke. I never thought he was better than Zeke. I thought both of those guys needed each other, right? I think that Dallas needed Zeke. I think Tony needed Zeke to grind out those yards, those hard yards up the middle.
Take the load off, yeah.
And Tony was moving side to side, playing horizontally. Sometimes you need that vertical, that battering ram. And I think that was, I guess maybe it was a cap issue, so they had to, but I think they're going to, just from a football standpoint, I think they're going to miss having Zeke back there. I really do. It's a real good wide receiving group. I think Amari Cooper's out. He's not there anymore. He's in Cincy. He's somewhere else.
No, not Cleveland. Actually, it might be Cleveland.
He's somewhere. He's not in Dallas though. So yeah, the long and short of it, I'm going to take the Giants. I don't even think I want the points. I may just take that 140 number. I like that money line at 140. In terms of an over under, if I had to, we'll probably take the over. But I don't think that would be. I wouldn't mess around with that. I wouldn't throw a unit on it. If I had to, I'd maybe throw that in a parlay. But I'd be comfortable throwing a unit on the Giants money line. I really do. If you want to play it safe, you could mess around and take them 3.5, or they're at minus 120 at 3.5. So you could probably take a nice alternate line, get rid of that half point, make them +3 instead of 3.5. You'll probably get a little better odds. You might get even odds. So, yeah, that's where I'd go.
And yeah, Amari Cooper's on the Browns now.
Amari Cooper's on the Browns.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there you go. All right.
All right. Awesome. Well, I'm going to say, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm going to assume that our audience is 99% male. So, gentlemen, thank you for tuning in for the first
Jerry,
Sunday.
Jerry, we gotta have a parlay. So
oh, right. Yeah.
Christino's not here. I don't know what his big bet was. And I don't want to speak for him. So if you had to take a lock of the day, what would your lock of the day be?
Lock is stretch, but lock of the day.
Got to pick a lock.
Single pick lock of the day, not parlay. Single pick lock of the day is Jacksonville Jaguars -3.5 against the Colts.
Jacksonville Jaguars.
I'm heavy on that game. Heavy on that game.
If I had to take a lock, I'm in between the Giants and the Browns. I think that I probably have more faith in the Giants, but if we're sticking, it's probably nice to keep because we'll make this a parlay for me and you, right? We'll both bet this. We'll take each other's locks. So
okay, yeah, I like that. I like that.
You'll take the Jags at 3.5. I will take Browns. Probably now that money line's dropping, right? It was at 110. It's now at 105, and it's now a +1.5 spread. So I guess because we're doing a parlay, I'll take Cleveland spread, and that'll be our lock parlay of the day. You have Cleveland spread on your book. It's either 2. It's going to vary between 1 and 2 depending on who you bet through. I have, like I said, I have 1.5 here with the Barstool Sportsbook, and Jerry, you have Jaguars spread 3.5. I think you have 3.5 up there too. So
correct.
That's our parlay of the day. But
and if you want a quick 3-pick parlay for you for the people back home, I'm heavily considered. Although initially it was the Niners, our talk and the line dropped on FanDuel to +2. +2 is in the same realm as +3. That makes me a little scared, so I'm going to leave the Niners off of this. I think the Steelers, I don't know what they know, but the Steelers seem to be fucking climbing the ranks there. I have the Jaguars on there. I have Tennessee Titans money line, Jacksonville Jaguars -3.5, and then I'm bringing it down to Chicago Bears -1.5.
I'm a jerk off. Cleveland's not my lock. I'm going to take that back. I'm an asshole. Give me Minnesota with the points -4.5. That's my lock. I think they'd blow out the Buccaneers today. I like that a lot better. I would almost be inclined to take the over in that game too. But definitely Minnesota 4.5. That's our lock. Minnesota 4.5 parlayed with Jacksonville -3.5. $20 on that. $20 probably gets you like 40 something. So
I'll tell you right now.
Standard parlay
on FanDuel,
$42 payout.
On FanDuel, $20 brings you $54.60. It's +20, $273. Okay. Solid bet. Not a bad bet at all.
So I'll probably throw half a unit on that parlay. I like that. I like that a lot. So
yeah.
All right.
No.
We all good, Jerry?
Ladies and gentlemen, yeah, I'm good. Thank you guys for tuning in. As we mentioned on Thursday, we're going to be doing this show weekly. Thursday night football, subject to change, but stay tuned on socials. We got Sunny Days in Flushing, Maine. We got Sunny Days in Detroit 313. You can find me at Sunny Days Jerry. And if you want to shoot Anthony a follow, you can find him at AntFast on Twitter. We'll be giving you updates. We got the blog, so be sure you're on sunnydaysinflushing.com reading what I'm writing about the Jets. Pastors put out a great blog about the Lions the other day. And we'll be covering things to come. We got hockey season in the hopper, ready to get started in a couple weeks. And yeah, other than that, have a great Sunday. May the beers be cold and the odds in your favor. Win your bets. Let's get it done. We'll see you guys next week. Let's have some fun today. Let's have some fun. First week of football. Enjoy it. Enjoy every minute of it. Place your bets. Flip that phone over. Anybody that's calling you, texting you,
doesn't matter. What matters is that TV and the food you're eating in front of that TV. And let's make some money today. Let's make some money.
Absolutely. Let's do
Right?
it, baby. Take it
Thanks
easy,
for tuning
guys. Have
in.
a great Sunday, and we'll see you next week.
Oh.